Hey guys, welcome back to Chat with Charlie. Today we have it should have happened probably ages ago, but because me and Tanya have actually been mates for a while now. But we've got Tanya Vora, so make some noise for everyone. Tanya.
Hello, everybody.
I think people are probably familiar with you on the background vocals on Lino More, which everyone loves when I perform it live. But
I'm
she's
not surprised. It's a banger.
she's got more music than just that. Late Night Drive EP, which has just come out last month. So this will be coming out in January, by the way, Tanya. I know we're recording this in December, so just to clear up. So yeah, nah. So you've been sitting on that for a while, hadn't you? That EP.
Yes, I have been. Some of the songs on that EP are actually from like 2018.
Mm.
So they are quite old. Some of them are a lot more new.
Yeah.
The Lone Wolf Interlude was the last track that I recorded for that EP, which was like a couple months ago. But in general, I've been sitting on this EP as a concept, and a bunch of these tracks for a really, really long time. And it was getting to a point where I kept adding more songs to this EP and then adding more and then adding more and then not finishing it. And I was like, you
Mm.
know what? I just need to drop it the way
Yeah.
that it is right now, or it's never going to come out. So that's what I did.
Yeah, because for those who don't know, because obviously you're a singer,
Mhm.
because people might not know, they might think, oh, Tanya's got the hardest bars in the game or something. But there's a good variety of music on here, because like I listen to it on the drive to the gym. Obviously, like Late Night Drive is more sort of like an R&B kind of vibe,
Mhm.
and then Bad Decisions almost like a hip hop beat, isn't it? It's a
Yeah.
bit more hip hop.
Yeah.
And then Hold Me, I was kind of waiting for like a dance drop to come in, and it did. It did kind of have a bit of a dance vibe. So there's kind of like
Mhm.
a full spectrum and a full variety of different music there. And is that just I take? Obviously, you listen to quite a lot of different music, don't you? So
Yes. Yeah, I think it's very reflective of how diverse my personal music taste is. But I think the one theme that is like common throughout all of the songs on that EP is that they all have this like R&B soul kind of tinge to them, for lack of a
yeah,
better word.
yeah.
And I think a lot of that just comes with the way that I sing. I think I have a very R&B soul kind of voice.
Mm.
And I just like playing with that. I like doing like R&B mixed with house music and R&B mixed with hip hop and whatever comes out. And I think the EP is a really good manifestation of that.
Yeah, I like the some of the production choices as well. On the intro, you kind of got that oh, it's like the harmonizer effect. You know,
Yeah,
you got all the
vocoder.
yeah, and
Yeah.
like I really like the one thing I want myself is I've seen like the Antares harmony engine. I know we were just talking about Boniver before, but when he's got like woods and is it
Oh,
creeks, and he's got all the different layers and
so
stuff. I'm like,
good.
yo, I want that
Yeah,
sound. It's such an amazing sound, and
absolutely.
um if I could what I mean, if you dare share, like how do you what was it just a vocoder that you used to create that, or do you actually use something like
Just a vocoder. It was I believe it was Isotope's vocoder that I used on that.
yeah
And I was actually inspired to do it because I was listening to Bon Iver and it was specifically the Kanye track on My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. What is it called again?
um
Lost in the Woods.
Lost
Yeah.
in the World.
It
Woods is the original. Lost in the World.
Lost in the there we go.
Yeah, yeah,
We got there in the end.
yeah,
Lost in the World. So I was listening to that and I was like, this sounds so fucking sick. And I just love Bon Iver's whole vocoder thing. So I was like, doesn't really fit in with the kind of music that I make, but I wanna make one like vocoder heavy track. And it
yeah,
ended up being the intro for my EP.
yeah. But you got to remember though, like even Bon Iver himself, like I didn't even realize I knew him first because of tracks like um, Lost in the World, and when he's like, he's part of I think Justin, isn't he? He's part of like Francis and the Lights or something. I think that's
I think so.
yeah. And like when you go back and you actually listen to his other tracks, like like Skinny Love, and I was telling you before, he's got a cover of I Can't Make You Love Me, and it's just a beautiful track, beautiful. But it's completely different. It's almost like folky, isn't it? And that goes to show that obviously as an artist, you can, if you want to be, versatile, you can do it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's good, and obviously this would tie into Bon Iver has collaborated with Taylor Swift, who
Of course.
a massive fan of.
And can I just say, the Bon Iver tracks on Folklore and Evermore and Taylor Swift's last two albums are absolutely the best tracks on
I
each album.
I do like them, yeah. To be honest, this is
I
good for
think
me.
it
Like,
was a match made in heaven.
there'll be people here who'll be like, "Ah, Charlie, how can you say that?" Right, cool. Um, Obviously being a Kanye fan myself, um, you know, Taylor Swift, her older music never really resonated with me. But
Mhm.
I think it was you who pushed me to listen to. Was it Evermore's the one you pushed me to listen to? The one with the three
Folklore.
tracks, Folklore. The one with the three
Yeah.
tracks that have the same sort of story told from different perspectives.
Which is genius.
Yeah, and to be honest, I listened to that and I'm like, you know what? I can appreciate this. This is well written, and it's a well put together album, and I can appreciate that. It's not it's not what I usually listen to, but I can appreciate it for what it is. And
Absolutely.
even on this,
and that's all you need.
even on this EP, I can kind of hear a little bit of some of the writing styles and some of the melody choices. I can hear a little bit of that sort of Taylor touch.
That is a massive compliment. Like
Taylor
that's the best thing anyone's ever said to me about my music.
Surely it's an obvious one though, because if you listen to a lot of an artist, it tends to come through.
100%.
You know, like I think back to I wish I had the CD with me, but my brother got me Voodoo by D'Angelo on my birthday in April. And
brilliant album.
Yeah, it's probably my favourite album of all time now. But I used to like the album before, but I literally used to listen to it all the time in my car. And I think that did come out in some of my tracks. And before that, I used to listen to Lil Kana's CDs, what I used to have, Yesterday's Gone. And that came out in my EP. So I think if you do listen to stuff, you do sort of, I wouldn't say like recycle it, but it's kind of like your own version sort of comes out. It doesn't inspire.
Absolutely. Like it's the music that you make is like not original in the sense that it is really just what you listen to and what you consume processed through your own personal filter, which is, I think as a musician, that's why it's so important to listen to as much music as possible and try to have as much of a diverse taste as you can, because that's how you're gonna make more interesting music.
Yeah, exactly. You take like a little bit from here, a little bit from there,
exactly,
put it together and wham bam.
Yeah, I mean, I listen to a lot of pop music, and I wouldn't say that the music that I make is strictly pop. It definitely has pop elements to it, but it's not as like crazy. Like I listen to a lot of Charlie XCX, for example, and my music does not sound like Charlie XCX. But I've realized now, like I always told myself, like the music I listen to does not correlate with the music I make, which is very strange because you want to be making music that you would like to listen to. But I realize now that there are absolutely elements of the artists that I love that come through. And I do think a big one is Taylor Swift and her writing. And I think she has been like one of my biggest role models in terms of songwriting at the very least. Her and Alex Turner, but I obviously don't write like Alex Turner as much as I wish I could.
Yeah. But yeah, I feel that though, because sometimes, you know, you can listen to music and it like resonates with part of yourself, but it's not always a part that you can project quite easy. Like I'm not the world's greatest singer, so I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I can like hit the like falsetto like D'Angelo's doing or, you know, even play the keys like he plays. But when it comes to like the grooves that they have in that, you know, like on Voodoo, when it comes to like Questlove, and even finding people who I can help, like if I can't create the type of music that inspires myself, you know, I'll get help from people. Like I mentioned him on the last podcast I did as well. Callum, he's an amazing singer. He's amazing at guitar. He's amazing at bass, and he can help sort of put that little touch and sprinkle of like neo soul into my music, and things like that.
Love that.
But yeah, now like we were saying as well before this started that obviously right now you're in Oman, aren't you? Right?
Yes, I am.
But you were in Cardiff before the pandemic, but you've been stuck sort of over there, haven't you?
Yes. So this has been a bit of a mad thing because
recording in progress.
Just keep going.
I graduated from NYU in May of 2020. So I graduated right into the pandemic. Had no idea what I was doing. Went back to Oman to be with my parents because I did not want to be stuck in New York by myself. And then decided to move to Cardiff. Went to Cardiff for like 2 months. Decided to go back home for Christmas and then got stuck here because Oman got red listed and was red listed the entire time that the red list was a thing for no reason, because COVID was not ever that bad here. But anyways, so I've been stuck in Oman this entire time, which has been fine. I love Oman. It's a beautiful country. But the music scene is, needless to say, non-existent here. Especially like the music scene has been non-existent everywhere because of COVID. Live music is only just now once again becoming a thing, which is lovely to see. But gigs are not really a thing here. We have open mic nights, and I attend them religiously.
Cool.
But gigging and live music, it just doesn't do for me what I guess I'm used to. And maybe I was spoiled because I was kind of raised through the DIY music scene in New York, which is absolutely worlds apart from a place like Oman. And I think that's been really difficult and has kind of been feeling like my music career has kind of grown stagnant just because I feel like when I'm not performing, performing for me is just the most important element of music at all.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that. I mean, here in Wales now, we've actually taken a step back, and it's like gigs are all cancelled again, which is honestly heartbreaking. Across in England, they're still happening, but Wales, Scotland, and Northern Ireland, yeah, no nightclubs, no dancing's not allowed in Wales. Can't
Dancing's
dance.
not allowed here as well, which it feels like some sort of like footloose, like what is going on?
Yeah, and like I'm glad obviously you guys got the open mic nights. I tried doing a couple here
Mm-hmm.
when things were just starting to open up, but there was a one venue. I'm not going to call them out. Sometimes I feel I should. I asked if as a as a hip hop artist could I perform there, and they said some venues have a rule of no Wonderwall. Our rule is no rappers.
Ooh,
Yeah, so
that's rough.
I kind of wanted to learn Wonderwall and sing it really badly and do it 3 times. Kind of like what Jay-Z did when, was it Noel Gallagher said, oh, he's not a real musician, he can't play guitar. So he opened up his Glastonbury set with Wonderwall.
Genius.
Yeah, so part of me's like,
Honestly, if I were you, I would have absolutely done a terrible rendition of Wonderwall 3 times.
I know, but yeah, some of these places. But yeah, no, I totally get that. When I look back even at my Spotify stats, and I see there was a time before the pandemic where it was like from October till February, October 2019, February 2020, I was going to like 3 open mic nights a week. I was doing shows. I was, networking. I'm there with the business cards, which I've always got on hand. Look, business cards always on hand. And then like it kind of stagnated. So I do feel that. But again, at the same time, it's like we're kind of forced to take advantage of new situations.
Yes.
Um,
Absolutely. I think one of the best things that has come out of this sort of awful situation that we've all been going through for the last 2 years is how much easier it's become to collaborate with people now. I've had such an amazing privilege of collaborating with people all over the place. While I was in Oman, I was able to do backing vocals for Lie No More, which is one of my favorite tracks I've ever been a part of. So thank you again for getting me involved in that.
No worries. Thank you.
And it's been awesome. I've been doing a lot of stuff with Isaac from Summer Palace, which is soon to come. Wink, wink.
Yeah, Isaac. He's a good lad.
He's a great guy. And yeah, so it's been really, really nice. Like, even though I'm stuck here and I'm stuck at home and I don't have a lot of friends who make music in Oman, I've still been able to make music and I've still been able to collaborate with amazing people in a way that I don't know I would have been able to do before the pandemic, because I think this has forced us to open up our eyes to like recording podcasts over Zoom and basically working completely remotely, which is surprisingly easy to do with music.
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, again, I always like the in-person vibe when you're there. I'm definitely someone who prefers the face-to-face stuff. But like I said, you've got to make the most of what you can. And the internet, I think, especially after all this, pandemic stuff's been happening, it's kind of just reinforced its position with like, being the future. TikTok, for example, is something that I'm really I need to get involved with more. I'll probably say this a few times in a few different podcasts, but the thing that really changed my perspective on it was I'm reading 50 Cent's book, Hustle Harder, Hustle Smarter, and he's speaking to Lloyd Banks, and this was back when Instagram was for a new thing, and he like literally said to Lloyd Banks, he's like, you need to get on this Instagram thing, and he's like, and Lloyd Banks, he's again an amazing rapper, but he's not really like a social person. He's not like a internet star or whatever. But then like he was like, oh no, I don't think it's for me. And then 50 Cent's like, well, you could just put like quotes of your bars up there with just videos of you rapping, and it'll be a fan base. And I kind of feel like he didn't do that. And 50 Cent saying, looking back, maybe he should have. And I'm feeling like TikTok's at that place right now. I'm feeling like I was kind of like the last couple of years with TikTok, I've been like, I don't know, it's not me. I'm not 18 years old with pretty this, pretty that. You know what I mean? Like most of these people that get
Yeah.
big on TikTok, they all fit a certain look or way, and they all do the same dance moves.
Exactly.
That's what I thought TikTok was about. But now there's people who kind of just put anything on there, and that's kind of what it's got to. I'm thinking, right, what can I do? You know, what can I post on there? Whether like it's making beat videos that I want to do, or like the duets that people are doing. And again, it's like another job, but organic growth in that platform is big. So I feel like in the past where you're sharing your stuff through open mic nights or gigs on venues, like cool, yeah, that's probably got more of an effect. You know, that interaction face to face is, you know, definitely a bigger impact than just scrolling through some video on your phone. But it's better than
100%.
nothing. It's better than nothing, and that's where
Exactly.
you know. So that's the.
I think social media is simultaneously the worst and the best thing to ever happen to music. I think it's a shame that we are now in a place where if you want to be a successful musician, you also have to be a social media personality.
Yeah.
Not necessarily, but more often than not, that's kind of how it is. And you're kind of tasked with building your own fan base. And the easiest way to do that, if not performing live, is through social media. And sometimes, I totally agree with you. Like, I'm not the most social media person. I didn't feel like TikTok was kind of me, but I wish I could just make music and people would like it because it's good and that's all I have to do. But that's not the story. But I also feel like, in a way, social media and TikTok specifically is kind of the best thing that's happened to the music industry since the streaming era. And I think it's because this is the first time that we're seeing the power of what music is popular go back into the hands of the listeners. Because anything can blow up on TikTok, and it just depends on there are artists who have come out of absolutely nowhere because someone heard their song on TikTok, thought it was good, made a dance to it or whatever, and people liked it and kept sharing it. And it's the most organic, I think, like, music consumption has been in a really, really long time. And it's the only way really that I can foresee that you can really blow up without a record label behind you. And I think it's awesome that we have this opportunity. It's like the new SoundCloud, but like doing it even better than SoundCloud.
Yeah. I need to find a way to streamline the creation process as well. I feel like it takes way too long for me to make a TikTok video right now. I'm like, whoa.
It really does.
That's the thing.
It takes forever.
It's like, oh.
It absolutely is.
And there's people who say like post 3 times a day. I'm like, what? 3 times a day? Am I supposed to like just
mad stuff?
Just like forget everything else? Is this it now? As a musician, I've got to become TikTok star first and a musician second. But not like as
honestly,
controversial opinion. The way I'm built, and I don't mean like my height and whatever. I mean just the way that like I used to sell sweets in school and stuff. I feel like back in the day, selling mixtapes and street corners probably would have done me better than social media. I feel like that's more me than
100%
social media. Even this is the reason why I prefer long form content as well. You know, I like documentaries. I prefer to listen to a podcast and scroll through, you know, a million TikToks. So that's why I'm doing podcasts. I feel like, you know, this is better suited to me than
absolutely.
You know, so it's kind of like. Yeah, sometimes I feel like, am I in the wrong era? But then, like, again, I keep going back to that thing that 50 Cent was saying about Lloyd Banks. I'm feeling like you've just got to use what you got, and it might not seem like you, but especially now, like, I have seen some talented people on TikTok. You know, I've seen some people in there who I don't find cringy or corny or feel like I'm an old head, even though I'm 21, feeling old on this app. You know, so yeah, it's just about sort of going forward with that. And again, like, you know, when it comes to everything, everything ties in. Everything ties in. You know, I'm not gonna lie. There are songs that I may have heard before that I will see on TikTok, and then I'll check them out again because I've heard them. Or what's his name now? Sam Tompkins. He's a singer from Brighton or something. Amazing singer. But it was actually he did a cover of "Can't Make You Love Me." And that's when I checked that to find the original. And then I found the original, but then I found the version. So it all ties in. But it was because of that video I found that version of the song. It's the same with, sometimes you'll listen to something like, again, Sam Tompkins. I'm pretty sure it's an incredible singer. I remember when he used to busk. He used to busk back in the day. But now he does TikTok videos. I'm going to try and find it now on my phone. But he did a cover of Halo. And again, beautiful song, beautiful singing that he's done. and that made me want to check out the original again. So it's kind of like these little snippets and stuff. You don't expect it, but it kind of works.
TikTok is an awesome place for music, I think. I think the algorithm is remarkably good at showing you music content once it figures out that you're a musician.
Yeah.
Like my For You page is just music, like producers, songwriting tips, and Taylor Swift.
Mine is now, but when I first started, it wasn't. I'm not going to say what it was when I
first
started.
It's a hot mess when you start,
when you first
but
start.
It gets there in the end.
Yeah, it's just
tell you something mad about TikTok that you may not have known.
Yeah, go
on. The TikTok algorithm is based on like your geographical location as well.
Right.
So when I post TikToks, it shows my TikToks like only to the Middle East, and like most of the viewers don't speak English. So basically I just get comments in Arabic being like, I don't understand what she's saying, which is really useful for me. So I'm waiting to get back to the UK so I can make a new TikTok account and start posting my covers to an audience that like will actually want to hear it.
Yeah.
Because I will literally have like 85% of my viewers from Saudi Arabia, and they're just like, what is going on in this video?
But then like, you've also got to think, the way like the algorithms work, and this is part of the reason why collabs are important. Playlists are actually, I'll get onto the playlist. This is stuff that I've learned from a guy called Jesse Cannon, his YouTube page, Musformation. But when an algorithm like TikTok, like Spotify, like Instagram sees you working closely with another creator, it tends to link your stuff together, and then you'll be obviously shown to each other's audiences and fan bases and stuff as well. So, for example, I've worked a lot with Hermes this year when it comes to posting. I've done like behind the scenes stuff for her. Been to a few of her gigs. She's been on the podcast herself. Because the algorithm will see that we've worked a lot together. It will like our fan bases will kind of merge a little bit. So we'll be showing to each other's stuff, and I think that's why a lot of the time it's TikTok and also Instagram. Because I have worked with a lot of people who are more singers than just straight up hip hop, I tend to get shown like other singers. And I think those singers probably get shown my stuff as well. But yeah, like I say, I actually want to start another podcast. And I was like, oh, Charlie, you've already got a podcast. But I literally was thinking of this before. But we might as well go with it. It was going to be, this is Chat with Charlie. It was going to be Tunes with Charlie. And it's going to be more of a radio show. I wanted to do this. I talked about doing this in June last year. And the idea is you create on Anchor, the app, you can create you can put music in from Spotify, that's one, but you can talk about it in between the segments like a radio show. And I used to do this with Hospital Radio, but then people are going to be listening to, for example, I might put your song in there and then I might put Hermes's after, for example, because we spoke about Hermes before, and she's more pop music than you are, but the algorithm's going to see that someone's listened to Midnight Drive by Tanya Vora and then Headache by Hermes, and they listen to these two songs together. So when you go to your Spotify and it says artists fans of page, that thing starts to happen, and you get put in playlists together, and then people who listen to one are more likely to listen to the next. So if you can find artists that are similar to you and you can bring them together in something like this, then you can almost force the algorithm to work with you.
That's very interesting.
That's the science behind it. I need to, obviously, this is just kind of what I've heard, and I need to put in practice. I've seen it a little bit happen with some artists I've worked with more. For example, Petrovita, he was on here. He's a Swedish rapper. I found out we've kind of crossed a little bit fans and stuff and shown up in some. There's, by the way, for people, that's
Cornelia.
She's Tanya's cat. And yeah, you can do it with playlists as well. So if you can do it with the playlist, that's the importance of playlists.
Yeah.
To see what goes, because again, people are going to be listening in order.
Spotify playlists are just like a mystery to me, honestly.
Yeah.
Like I see my friends like who I went to school with, because I went to music school for undergrad. Yeah. I see a lot of my friends who I went to school with. I know that they're not signed to record labels. They'll get put on like today's top hits and like Spotify Fresh Finds with their like debut EP, which honestly, congratulations, good for you guys. You fucking deserve it. But like, how did you do that? I don't understand. Like, I have spent so much time on like Submit Hub and like just like cold emailing like playlisters, trying to get playlisted, and I've been put on like 2 relatively big playlists throughout my entire career. So I don't know what I'm doing wrong, but
I kind of got a counteract. Like I'm not a fan of playlists when it comes
mm,
to pure streams. If you use them as like I say, to work the algorithm, so you can get the
yeah,
algorithm in your favor for the, again, Discover Weekly playlists and stuff, then
yeah,
fair enough. But for the most time, people just listen to a song once and then they just to the next one.
exactly.
And then also a lot of the
Yeah,
time there are bots on playlists as well, because
yes.
unfortunately the only sort of way and evidence I have to show how a playlist work, there was a guy I knew who was called Gray. I think his name was like GRXXY. I don't know if it's pronounced Gravy or something. And he paid, I believe it was through Fiverr, someone to bot his streams, and he got
Oh,
22,000 on one and 26,000 on the other. That's the last time I checked. But he got onto Discover Weekly.
oh,
He had no real fans, zero real fans, zero real
that's
fans,
mad.
and he botted his way.
So it's really just about fucking with the algorithm then.
Yeah, so he kind of like forced the algorithm to, and then sometimes I'm like, do I need to do that? Do I need to like kind of fake it before I make it type of thing? But then it's like you can, obviously you can get like banned and stuff for that, and he's given up on music now as far as I know. So yeah.
I mean, I'm very against bots. I was collabing with a friend of mine who was collabing with someone else who was like notorious in the community for using bots, but like would be able to be like, oh, I have 100,000 streams on all my songs. So like
Yeah.
it got her places. She was able to get us gigs. So we are like, okay, fair enough. Like we'll just like allow this to happen and ride on the coattails of these bots. But when my friend released an EP that had a couple songs with her featuring on them, the bots would like come stream his songs as well. I don't know if like that was deliberate on like the girl's part, or like the bots were just like doing it because I don't know. But basically, because Spotify clocked that bots were listening to his songs, because all of his streams were like from like Brazil.
Yeah.
He got like taken off. Yeah. He got taken off of playlists and stuff. Like it really screwed him over. So he ended up taking down the EP and like re-releasing it without the features on it.
Mad. Yeah, I don't want to risk anything like that. But again, like you're saying about opening doors, there's a festival that's literally 10 minutes up the road from me, which would be the closest I've ever performed properly to my home, which is mad. This is the thing people don't realise. People are like, oh, Charlie, you're in the UK, is everything really close? I live in Wales, and I travel further. I travel further to get things than I did when I was in Australia. I know a girl who travels over an hour to go and just go swimming with her stepson. Like, we never did that in Australia, and everything's wild apart in Australia. Anyway, beside the point, before I go to rant, because I know we have to go to Cardiff or Swansea to perform, for people who don't know, which is like at least half an hour away. But this is just around the corner, Margam Park. Applying, these are the questions they asked. How many Spotify monthly listeners do you have? How many Facebook likes do you have? Which was weird. No one really uses Facebook like that anymore.
Yeah.
How many Instagram followers do you have? They didn't even ask if you were Welsh. And it was supposed to be Welsh artists. They just cared numbers. I could have paid to get all of them, and I could have got through the door. But
it's a sad state of things, honestly. It really is. I really want there to be a world where we can just do A&R the old-fashioned way. Because I interned at a lot of record labels when I was in New York. So I have a very intimate understanding of how, at least at the major levels, A&R works. And honestly, I was told on my first day, like, don't bother pitching us an artist if they don't have at least 10,000 monthly listeners. They do not even care. Like, it's just A&R is not, it's no longer about scouting for good music and finding good artists. I mean, sure, that's part of it, but it's really, A&Rs are now spending most of their time on TikTok and on Instagram and on social media, trying to find artists that already have big fan bases and have big numbers. And then if they also have good music, they'll probably sign them. And I just think it's a really sad state of things, because we no longer live in a world where a good musician can have a career just because they're a good, talented musician.
I think connections is part of it as well.
Absolutely.
Obviously, if your uncle's Jay-Z, you're definitely more likely to do something than not. But at the same time, it doesn't mean everything. I know lots of people with really good connections who they don't put the work in as well. I think someone said to me, I forget what it was. I can't remember the exact quote, but it's like, hard work might not get you everywhere alone, but without hard work, you won't get anywhere, or something along those lines. So
Yeah,
you
and I
need,
think that's absolutely, like, I agree. I know a lot of people who also had like connections directly to the music industry, or like were
mm,
like from really rich families in New York.
mm,
But they didn't have the drive to get there, and just the
mm,
connections alone won't help. I think you definitely do need connections,
mm,
but you also need to be a hard worker, and you need to really care about what you're doing.
yeah, and that's why, like, again, I just want to be able to do everything by myself. It's kind of like passed through my mind the whole. I know a lot of people, especially back in the day, were kind of like, you know, you want to get signed. You know, when you're a musician, you get signed. That's that. But it's kind of not even crossed my mind. It's kind of like, I see like Bugsy
Mm-mm.
Malone, he's unsigned and all that. I know he's got a manager and all this, but probably a team behind him. But he's still independent. You know, he still owns most of the money that
Yeah,
comes through whatever. But that's why I'm like, cool. I'm gonna do everything myself. That's why everything like pretty much everything I make is like self-produced. I've got my own camera now. I shoot my own music videos. I'm gonna be putting on my own shows when things open up in Wales again. Ugh, it sounds bad saying
yeah.
that.
I think there's a lot of freedom that comes from being able to do everything yourself.
Mm,
And speaking of doing everything yourself, also, hold on, my cat needs me to open the door for her.
that's all right.
Give me
That's all
one
right.
second.
I think I know what you're gonna say. I think it's your EP in it because am I right? You self-produced, mixed, and mastered all of that.
Yeah. So I almost every song that I've ever put out, actually every song that I've ever put out,
Mm-hmm.
I've at the very least co-produced.
Yeah.
But this is the first EP that I literally did everything myself. And I
Mm,
think it was a product of self-isolation in COVID. And I was like,
yeah.
I'm in my room and I have nothing to do but make beats
That's
and
cool.
make music.
Mm,
And that's really what this EP was. I mean, some of the songs are quite old, but this whole EP, it was self-produced. I mixed it myself
yeah.
and mastered it myself, which is something
Nice.
I've never done before.
Mm,
Um, and I had a really, really great friend called Francis. His artist name is Kiko XO. He's based in Vancouver, and he is a sound engineering genius. And he basically gave me a crash course on mixing and mastering my own songs. He used to
nice.
mix a lot of my songs for me.
Yeah.
And he kind of taught me everything that I know, and was like, Tanya, just do it, and you'll be fine. And like I would send it to him, and he'd give me notes. And with that, I was able to mix and master my own EP, which is insane. I never thought I would be able to do that. So big ups to him for
Mm,
being my mentor for that. And now I just feel like, you know what, I can put out an entire EP by myself. And that is a big thing to say. And I'm
yeah.
really proud of myself for doing that and
Good.
finally getting it out there.
Nice. So what's the plan moving forward then? What we're going to see in 2022 from Tanya?
Ooh. So I am working on a couple things. We're kind of just at the experimental phase, but
Cool.
we're working on a couple things, me and Summer Palace.
Yep.
So kind of shifting towards a more of a rock direction. If you guys aren't familiar with Summer Palace's music, they are absolutely amazing and you should listen to them. But they kind of have this like very heavy rock influence, and they're very guitar heavy with their music,
Yeah.
which is very, very different to my music. Almost all of my music is like written on piano and is keyboard based. So really a different direction, but I think it could be really, really fun to do something kind of rock, something I haven't done before. And we've been sending some stuff back and forth, and it's sounding really, really fucking good so far. So I'm
Nice.
really excited about it. Hopefully something comes out of that. And I'm planning to be back in the UK next month.
Cool.
So
Sick,
maybe
man.
me and Charlie will have to do a
Yeah.
gig together when things open
Yes.
back up.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I mean, you'll be in what, London, innit? Is where you're moving.
I'll be in London.
Yeah, things are
Yeah,
opening
which
in
is
London.
going to be amazing
Yeah,
because live
sick.
music in London.
Yeah, place to be,
Yeah,
London. But cool. So yeah, like I said, just
absolutely.
before we go there, where can people find you? Where can people find you? Social media,
You can
names.
find me on Spotify and Apple Music and all the streaming services of your choice. And you can find me on Instagram. My username is _ Tanya Vora _ And yeah, come
There you
find
go.
me.
There you go. Well, it's been a pleasure. Thank you. Like I say,
It's
long
been great to
overdue.
be on the podcast, Charlie.
Stream the Late Night Drive EP, which is out everywhere now. So thank you and big ups to you.
Thank you so much for having me, Charlie. It was great.